Babalola. I'm a product engineer at ConsenSys, where I built Benefactory. This is not working.
英公老师帮忙调节一下这个蓝牙的设备。
Okay. All right, let's go back. So Benefactory is a platform for distributed organizations. Right now, we're living through a renaissance in distributed technologies, and it really gives us the opportunity to analyze all of the interactions that are happening in our economy, figure out the roles that are being played there, and see if we can rebuild those interactions in ways that are more effective and more efficient. Benefactory does this for organizations. So what is an economic organization? How do we define an economic organization? An economic organization pools funds and decides how to use them. A for-profit organization pools funds from investors, and then they have a decision-making process to figure out how to deploy those resources in ways that return profit to investors. Nonprofit organizations pool funds from donors, and then they have a decision-making process for figuring out how to deploy those resources in ways that make progress towards their mission. But pooling funds is hard. Pooling funds is hard in smart contracts that can have bugs. But pooling funds is also hard in the real world, where it creates competition where there should be cooperation. Within for-profit organizations, sometimes one department's gain is another department's loss. Even though these departments share the same mission, they're competing when they should be collaborating. Within the world of nonprofits, sometimes there are multiple organizations that are trying to make progress towards the same goal. But again, they're competing for the same flow of donors. One organization's gain can be another organization's loss. They have to convince donors that one organization is better at achieving this goal than another. They're competing when they should be cooperating. So how can we define one person goes off and tries to fund a proposal that makes progress towards their mission, the only person that's going to know that those funds were sent is the person who receives them. It's too hard to find out when someone has actually contributed towards progress for all people. But if we link those proposals together into an organization that builds a brand, when people see that organization have an impact on the world, they can go back to the Ethereum blockchain. They can see each contribution that's been made to that organization. And they can give all the people who've contributed towards progress for all people the honor they deserve. commonwealths can't pool funds and directly allocate those funds, they can speak with one voice, which turns out to be almost as powerful. They can speak with one voice about the past. Commonwealths themselves can define which contributions make up the Commonwealth. They can speak with one voice about the present. They can say, if you share our mission, if you want to know what the most important thing to fund right now to make progress towards our mission is, it's this proposal right here. You should fund this specific proposal if you want to make progress towards our mission. Using this mechanism, they can direct funds without actually holding funds. They don't have to pool funds to have the ability to direct funds towards progress. They can also speak with one voice about the future. When there are unknown problems that need to be solved, they can issue requests for proposals to draw attention to those issues, to make sure that progress continues to happen over time. When these commonwealths build up a voice, it's easy to see how they might be influential. But how do we build up that voice to begin with? If one person defines a set of contributions, the community might not agree with that set of contributions. The voice that that commonwealth has might not be influential because the community doesn't recognize it. That's why the contributions, the commonwealths that are actually meaningful will be commonwealths that are governed like genres of art. We have a rough process, a rough social process for coming to consensus on which contributions fall within and outside of a genre of art. We can use that same process to define commonwealths and come to a rough consensus on those contributions. We can use that rough consensus to bootstrap a precise consensus using democracy. When a new genre of music is developed, a music journalist might find that genre, they might describe that genre in an article. They might describe a couple of songs that fall within that genre. But nobody actually has to listen to what that journalist said. If I disagree with what they said, I can write my own article. I can come up with my own definition of what that genre is. And in the world of commonwealths, what I've done is I've forked the genre. When a commonwealth is getting off the ground, there might be several forks that claim to be pursuing the same mission. But the forks that actually matter are the ones where the contributors themselves find it valuable to participate in the voice that they share together. There might be several commonwealths, but once they move to democracy and they start voting, we can use voter turnout as a heuristic to separate the commonwealths that matter, the voices that are meaningful, from the forks that no one really acknowledges. The good ones will rise to the top. We can exit the era of siloed competition, where different organizations with similar missions compete with each other for funds. We can enter an era of distributed collaboration, where organizations can overlap. When there's a disagreement about how to allocate funds within a distributed organization, the answer isn't to create a competing organization that competes for funds. The answer is to create a subgenre of philanthropy, to create a new commonwealth that has more precise rules about how to determine what to recommend spending funds on. These organizations aren't competing with each other, they can overlap. A contribution can be included in multiple commonwealths.
Sorry, time is up.
Cool. Commonwealths will be created for every genre of philanthropy.